And when the lights go off, which they have now, we should be racing very soon, and you will see, as is norm, probably Scott Borchetta heading off into the distance. But
wait. We cannot count out Jerry Robinson in that 2010 Dodge Viper.
That's very true.
Mr. Mopar or No Car. I think he's a high up in the Mopar Club of America. And he will give, that V10 will give Scott Borchetta a run for its money.
I agree. Here we go then, out of Sunset Bend as we look at Group 6 and 12A. Over 30 cars involved in this. Always impressive to see so many cars in just one of the group sessions. Green flag waves and away we go.
Can you connect me to the SpeedTour? I can't even get on the internet.
Good start from Borchetta, holds the line nicely, and through goes the 37. And that's Claire Schwendemann in the Corvette Roadster who gets a run on Jerry Robertson as they all dive through. And the Jinket 2, very dusty off line, and certainly if you put a wheel down, headed towards the first big braking point, and everybody safely through there and through 3 and 4.
That Mission Foods Turn 3 has been quite treacherous all weekend. The brake markers that I put up there were destroyed yesterday during TA2. Look at that, Claire Schwendemann.
I know, she's doing a really good job.
Our neonatologist from Dallas, Texas out there. Oh, 2 Texans going at it.
A neonatologist?
Neonatologist. He works on premature babies.
Ah.
So his hands are invaluable. And then I see him out there taking apart his car with his own hands, and I'm like, oh, man, come on.
Maybe he's a smooth operator. There you go.
Maybe. A little Sade.
Yep. Schwendemann, though, getting ahead of Robertson at the start there. You saw it for yourselves. And continues to be there. The field already spreading out. This plus 30 car field.
Look at that Grand Sport there. I believe that's a Duntov Motor Racing out of Dallas, Texas car, as is the Claire Schwendemann car. There's John DeGainer in that Devon with, I believe, a 320. Look at this. BMW 2 Series versus an E-Type. That is 50 years of technology difference.
Very different.
The Cougar, the Mustang. This is a cool group of cars here at Sebring International Raceway.
It's a really eclectic group, but I like it.
I tell you what I love. Look at all the campers at the Sebring SpeedTour.
Ben, you've told me this before, but just go, I mean, how would you put all these 2 groups together, and how do you go about the groups?
So these are production cars. Group 6 is basically American muscle cars, big bore production cars from 1972 or earlier. Group 12 is big bore production cars from 72 or later, or other cars that kind of fit in to the same lap time. So those BMWs are in this because it's a safety thing with putting them in to cars that can kind of do their same lap times and similar brake zones. But watch this. Here's something that's really cool to see. When the cars come in, especially into turn 7, you're going to see the old vintage Corvettes get on their binders, get on their brakes, and they're going to move around a lot, back and forth, left and right, which can kind of spook some drivers as they come into Mission Foods Turn 3. And then as we keep mentioning, all the different racing surfaces here at Sebring International Raceway, the campers getting an unbelievable view of this racing. This is usually our crowd favorite, the Group 6. You know, everybody can relate to the American muscle cars of the day, and just look at the sight we're seeing.
Yeah, Scott Borchetta setting the cat amongst the pigeons with a 219.065, so pretty handy. 214.7 in qualifying, so he's not on pace yet for his own pace.
Yeah, Scott is racing in our Group 6 GT class in a 1969 Chevrolet Corvette. Look at that, Jerry Robinson on the inside of Claire Schwendemann. Turn 10, treacherous turn 10, coming around.
Nicely done, though.
That was nicely done. And Wallow right behind Claire, and Larry Ligas got by that BMW. But watch out for DeGainer. This is going to be quite a race here. This is pretty equally yoked cars between Larry Ligas and John DeGainer. John DeGainer was pretty happy today. I saw him putting his car up on jack stands and went over to him, and he's had a huge smile on his face and said he ran his best time. And a lot of times that's the goal for these gentlemen as they come out to race.
They are kind of racing themselves.
Oh, yeah, they're racing themselves, but if somebody's in front of them or behind them, they're racing whoever that is as well.
Yeah, sure. Well, as we say, So many of these cars priceless, and if not in value, to the people that own them. Scott Borchetta, though, pulling away at the front. The Viper not able to, at this point anyway, stay with him. In second place, that's Jerry Robertson. He's got back into that place.
Claire on the inside.
She's coming back. Wallow Bertschinger in the Grand Spo.
Here comes the Grand Sport. 2 Duntov Corvettes coming at it. Let's see what Wallow Bertschinger can do. And then there's Larry Liga. This looks like the 12 Hours of Sebring right here. From back in the heyday. Going around, Mission Foods turn 3. And it seems like the corner that causes the problems rotates. But it seems like today it's Mission Foods turn 3.
Yeah,
that
and it often is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a heavy braking turn. It's bumpy going in. And yeah, it can be definitely the site of many a bad moment. Through comes the 37. I made an adjustment to that car that wasn't intended. I apologize.
Oh,
Claire.
yeah. Claire, yeah.
An adjustment he wasn't expecting.
Yeah. Look at this. There's Lindstrom coming through, racing. Jeff Lindstrom in that Group 12, 1998 Ford Mustang Coupe. And I really like these BMWs running with us. Surprised we don't have more of those. And Jared Kahlo's going to like that Fiat 124 up there in the stands.
Yeah, again, I always like to see the sort of where we go from when you've got a 63 Jaguar out there and a 2020 BMW MT, the BMWs. So just 2 years old now. How does that qualify to be a classic, in other words? Gary Moore?
You know, I don't know the answer to that, but Bill Glavin has a BMW CSL that he runs with us, and they're trying this out. And we always try to find places for cars to race. He's a longtime vintage racer, so we know that he knows what he's doing, and we know that he can race with that vintage attitude. So we encourage anybody to come in with that. Yeah, that's more the point. And what a great show. I've never seen one of these cars on track, so I'm just loving it.
Good little battle here.
But I got to give it up for my boy Larry Ligas in that Jaguar. He's had a rough couple of years. So glad to see him back, and he's got this place more dialed in than anybody. So we need to talk about this because it was Larry Ligas and Jim Pace that talked about you're going to see a blue dot when we follow this Falcon around.
Yeah, you'll see.
Look for the blue dot on that bridge. Right there. You see that blue dot?
Yep.
Jim Pace, years ago, the legend, Skip Barber instructor, legendary in vintage racing, but also in IMSA and Daytona. He spray painted that to tell all of his students that's the fastest way through turn 17. And the blue dot continues. We lost Jim Pace, unfortunately, a few years ago, but a great guy, and it's cool that that blue dot tradition lives on. I love that Falcon. So where are we at,
nice.
people? Let's start reading. Oh, man, we've got people watching from Paraguay.
Wow.
Ascension, what part of Paraguay are you in, Jorge? Watching from Maine. So the first two comments, Paraguay and Maine. that shows the reach of SpeedTour.tv.
Well, we've got some races from Panama, but not Paraguay.
Ooh, look at that. You see
that
Gary
nice
Moore get onto the binder. Look at this. 3 different Ford platforms. Mercury, Cougar, Mustang, Falcon.
Couldn't have had any more different Fords than that.
Yeah.
And Jim Farley's probably watching on. He was in the previous group.
How cool is that?
Good to see Luca Mars doing a great job earlier in Trans Am.
Yeah. I love seeing the development drivers that are going to develop into a great career in motorsports starting in Trans. Oh, Larry's out.
That's Larry Ligas in that Jaguar. Sliding right down. Look, there he is.
Yeah, Predator Performance out of Largo, Florida. And look at
Shannon Ivey.
Shannon Ivey getting onto those Hawk Performance brakes there. There's an E in his name, so it's I-V-E-Y. But look at the speed on that Camaro. That just looks right. That looks like a really properly prepared Camaro. Shannon Ivey, thank you for bringing that out. I know that you went through painstaking preparation to get that to the TA standards of the day.
Yes, that's something you don't really give a lot of thought to when you see them racing, but it's the prep that goes on in making these cars what they are.
Yeah, we got North Carolina watching. Doc Merritt. Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm from Tennessee. Love it. John Weber. Delaware. That is awesome. Look at that. Grand Haven, Michigan.
Well, the Jaguar was going to make it. He's coming down the Ullman Straight, but
Yeah.
I think he's just going to try to crawl his way to the pit lane.
Look at that, 72. I love the 1970 Boss 302. The lines of that car. John Cloud has such a pretty one. The ones that race in Trans Am, the Bud Moore School Bus Yellow, Boss 302s, those are some beautiful cars. And these are the BMWs we're talking about. So if you're out there watching this and thinking, I don't know if I want to drive a vintage race car, this is the way to go. Automatic transmission, air conditioning, a little over 400 horsepower, super fun to drive, readily available parts, BMW 2 Series. Watching from Little Rock, Arkansas. But I love all these comments. But ladies and gentlemen, what are you? Are you Ford? Are you Chevy? Are you Dodge? I think I might be a Bizzarini man. I love that Bizzarini there, driven by Tennessee here.
Is that Stephen Shoddy? Oh, that's a Shelby Cobra. The only 5 we've got, Dan, is that Shoddy car.
Yeah, I don't have him.
Yep.
Oh, there he is. Carlo Falcone driving a Bizzarini. That's perfect, right?
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to take out a hit on me. Look at that. Ah, if that is not just sex on wheels.
Well, they've got him down as Stephen Shoddy. That's not.
Stephen Shoddy. Yeah, I think you're, well, no, that's not it.
That's
no,
not
it's
the,
it should be the 5A. So it
yeah,
should
that's
be,
just a.
it's 5A.
Yeah.
Carlo Falcone. That, Carlo, thank you for bringing that car, because that is absolutely just art on wheels. Look at that thing.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I see it now. 5A. 15th place overall, fastest lap of 2:24.124. So that's his personal best in that Bizzarini. Bizzarini soup to nuts.
Yeah, I like that. I think he added that, but that's what it is in the dashboard too. I think that's really fun.
Plenty of great stories up and down the paddock here.
Beautiful GT350 coming at us right now at the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers. Turn 17, look at that.
And I mentioned while you were down on the podium, you know, you've been mentioning where people are tuning in from. If you want to get involved in SVRA, you can literally take your vintage license, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, we have a school at Willow Springs Raceway this September. Easy way to get into it with us. So that was Dolan there in that GT350. And then in that number 4 Corvette, Ray Zisa, who always has great races with us at Lime Rock and here. So Ray, thanks for bringing out that beautiful Corvette going into Mission Foods Turn 3 here at Sebring.
Yeah,
Ray is a
really,
really good competitor. Some of the best racing footage we have is with Ray Zisa racing with us at Lime Rock. Somebody slowing down there under the Sebring Bridge, coming into Franklin Road, turn 7. Who is that? Corvette. You know, I need to brag a little bit. Well, let's talk about this car. This car actually raced in the 12 Hours of Sebring, that number 80. That is such a cool car.
Seth Bergen.
Yes, thank you for bringing that out. But I got to brag on this man right here. Last year, we may have witnessed a vintage racing miracle.
Tell me.
Group 6, Scott Borchetta finished every race on the lead lap.
That's right.
He won every race. in his Group
I
6
bet that's not often
competition
been
last
done.
year.
I bet
I don't
that's
think
not
that's
often
ever
been
been
done.
done. I don't think Greenwood could build a Corvette that reliable. So that just hats off to Scott Borchetta, Dylan Hellman, that whole team there, Scott Borchetta Racing. That's unbelievable. I don't think it's ever been done, and we might see it done again with the same team, but look at that livery. That is power 70s. If I went out there and shot that with a 16mm Bolex, you'd think I'm looking at the 1970s film. I love the care and the detail that they put into that to get it back to its former glory, what it was. Former driver Kurt, Tony DeLorenzo, they've got to be just ecstatic seeing this out there.
Oh, no question. No question. Look at him drifting it in the closing stages of this one, Scott Borchetta. And he's got to do qualifying in a bit too, so he's just getting his hand in.
So if anybody knows the family or Kurt Wetzel, make sure you reach out to them and tell them they need to watch this race tomorrow, because Scott Borchetta is doing Kurt Wetzel very proud.
And he's put in some handy lap times too. 2:18.7 his best lap time so far. And compared to second place, Schwendeman.
Now we got to watch out here, because Sam LeCompte and Scott Borchetta are good friends, so Sam LeCompte may not let him by, but there he goes. That's fun. So here we are, Scott Borchetta coming into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers, turn 17. Maybe another lap left. We'll see if we get the last lap flag here. Look at that. Great shot there from our Greenlight production studio around Big Machine Vodka Spike Cooler, turn 17. Look at how wide he comes out. Last lap sign there. So SVRA, we see the LL sign signifying last lap.
I know Scott gets a lot of call-outs, A, because he's winning all the time, and B, gets a lot of coverage because he's leading all the time. But I want to give him a little bit of an accolade, or at least the company, because we know Big Machine Vodka, we know Big Machine Records, but I thought it was great during COVID that they turned the distillery and stopped making the vodka. Well, they didn't stop making the vodka, but they actually put a portion of the vodka making side into hand sanitizer. And Scott literally gave everybody in the paddock some hand sanitizer to make sure, you know, during COVID, best precautions took. So hats off. A worthy cause.
Yes. And we saw that a lot from our paddock is full of business owners, and a lot of them kind of shifted and, you know, made PPE, or they made masks, things like that. So
Three-dimensional services made some stuff. A lot of companies actually involved in, you know, basically the fight against the disease.
Oh, we have a Mopar guy. Got a comment from Forrest. Loves Mopar.
Well, there's not many people who don't.
New Zealand. Ken Worsley is watching from New Zealand. North Island or South Island, buddy? Because I love both.
We'll be down there next year, or I will. Coming to see your muscle cars. They've got a great muscle car historic scene down there.
They have a great everything in New Zealand.
Yeah.
The Kiwis have it going on.
I love the food, I love the people, I love the country, and I love the racing scene there. So hats off to New Zealand.
Kevin Cornelius from Gunnersville, Alabama says Corvettes rule. And right now,
they do.
Scott Borchetta from just north of you, Nashville, Tennessee, is proving you right.
So closing stages of this, the Group 6 and Group 12A, and Scott Borchetta, as he does pretty much most weekends, has wheeled that Corvette to yet another victory, or he's got one more corner to go. Can't see it going wrong here. Famous last words, but in he comes in the number one with the new paint scheme to show off some of its heritage. You may not know about before, but here it comes out of the last corner, and Scott Borchetta does the business. There's the checkered flag, and Scott Borchetta keeps on winning.
I bet you right now Dylan Hellman, his crew chief, is just sighing a bit of relief, knowing that the season is starting off right. Good job, Dylan Hellman, Scott Borchetta, and the whole Scott Borchetta racing team. There's Jerry Robinson.
He's going to pick up third place in that Viper.
First in Group 12. Claire Schwendeman's going to be second place, Group 6.
Yeah, good job.
Man, Claire Schwendeman, great vintage racer. Great neonatologist out of Dallas. Just an all-around great person to be around.
Yeah, to be honest, you could do a whole documentary on what the jobs and what the backgrounds of some of these guys are. Very, very interesting kings
really
of industry.
Neat. Oh, yeah. Really cool.
And this is their fun. This is their playtime.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard work to do this. Like, I'll see Claire, you doing, so, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. But right now, we're going to throw to some commercials here at the Sebring Speed Tour, but do not go anywhere.